Welcome to the channel. What if I told you that a seemingly ordinary coin, a 1998 Jefferson Nickel, could be hiding in your pocket right now, quietly worth thousands, even millions, because of a microscopic error that almost no one noticed until it was too late? What if one small slip in the minting process created a legendary rarity that has haunted collectors for decades, driven auctions into a frenzy, sparked government investigations, and led to wild speculation about a secret batch of coins that was never meant to see the light of day? The 1998 Jefferson Nickel, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, appears at first glance like any other 5-cent piece, Thomas Jefferson's profile on the obverse, Monticello on the reverse, but beneath this humble surface lies one of the most tantalizing mysteries in numismatic history, a story so riddled with anomalies, rumors, and dramatic turns that even seasoned collectors can't fully agree on what actually happened. Some say it was a rogue mint worker, others whisper of machinery failures and hurried cover-ups, but the evidence suggests something far more deliberate, something so precise and rare that only a handful of these coins are believed to exist, and the few that have surfaced share shocking traits: dramatically off-center strikes, double dies on Jefferson's face and the word liberty, ghost-like planchet smears, or in the most prized examples, a full strike on an experimental composition never approved for circulation, possibly a leftover planchet from a foreign coin program, leading experts to debate whether the U.S. Mint accidentally, or secretly, produced a hybrid coin that was never supposed to escape the facility's walls, yet somehow did, and ever since, collectors have been on a feverish hunt to locate these phantom nickels, scouring change jars, estate sales, and bank rolls for any trace of this anomaly. One man in Ohio claimed to have found a version with an ultra-high relief design, theorizing that it was an abandoned prototype for the 2004 Westward Journey Nickel series, a connection that raised eyebrows among experts and prompted speculation that these 1998 nickels were actually the result of internal experimentation with new dyes and alloys, and when you add in the peculiar timing, just 2 years before the Mint overhauled the nickel's design, you begin to realize that this coin might have been an accidental preview of what was to come, an unintentional leak that now commands legendary status. But the real twist came when a retired Mint employee anonymously submitted a letter to a major numismatic publication claiming that during late 1998, a batch of blank planchets intended for an international coinage contract was mistakenly fed into a nickel coining press in Philadelphia, and instead of being discarded, the resulting coins were quietly removed and pocketed by insiders, never reported, never traced, vanishing into the wild where a few unknowingly entered circulation. And it wasn't until 2004 that the first surfaced in a North Carolina flea market, when a young boy traded 3 of these odd-looking nickels for a comic book, not realizing that the coin's odd metallic sheen and misaligned strike would one day draw the attention of top numismatists who eventually confirmed that the coin didn't match any known U.S. Mint specifications for that year, igniting years of debate and deep-dive forensic analysis into the presses used in Philadelphia during that exact window of time, revealing maintenance logs, unexplained shutdowns, and mysterious discrepancies in the inventory of blank planchets, all of which fueled the idea that something was being covered up, possibly a covert test or a misfeed gone terribly wrong. And with each new discovery, the legend of the 1998 Jefferson Nickel grew until it took on a life of its own, inspiring collectors to dedicate entire lifetimes to locating just one authentic specimen, with some selling homes or traveling cross-country to inspect rumored finds. One elderly man even claimed to have bought gas station coffee in 2001 with 2 of these coins and has since spent 20 years trying to retrace his steps, convinced he held millions in his hand without realizing it. Meanwhile, online forums lit up with stories of similar coins surfacing with unusual features: partial clad layers, double edges, rotated dies. Yet none have matched the extraordinary details of the few coins authenticated by experts and placed in top-tier auction houses, where they drew not only eye-watering bids but the attention of federal authorities who reportedly requested anonymity from auction firms while they reviewed the coin's origin, raising even more questions. Was the government trying to retrieve these coins? Were they ever officially released? Or were they simply embarrassed that such an error had occurred on their watch and now wanted to erase the trail? And the deeper you dig, the more haunting it becomes, because not only are the known coins distinctively flawed in the exact same way, but they also bear a microscopic marker on the rim that some believe ties them to a clandestine press used exclusively for foreign coin contracts, suggesting this wasn't an isolated incident but perhaps part of a larger pattern of secret minting operations that the public was never supposed to know about, and the idea that a few slipped through, into the hands of average citizens, gives this story a mythic quality, like hidden treasure from a forgotten era, treasure that only reveals itself under the most precise conditions, with magnification, expertise, and a bit of luck, and with each day that passes, the chances of uncovering one of these rarities diminishes, making the chase even more feverish, even more desperate, and some collectors have begun to whisper of a master list, a record kept by a now-deceased mint official detailing the exact count of misstruck nickels from that period, a list that's never been found but may yet exist in a dusty attic box, waiting to blow the lid off the entire mystery, while rumors swirl that a known billionaire collector has already acquired 3 of these coins and keeps them in an undisclosed offshore vault, refusing to speak publicly because doing so would validate the coin's existence and cause prices to skyrocket even further, potentially endangering his own security. And in the midst of all this chaos, one thing remains certain: the 1998 P. Jefferson Nickel is no longer just a coin. It's a symbol, a puzzle, a relic of something that should never have happened, a glitch in the system that turned ordinary metal into legend, and as long as even one more might be out there, waiting to be found, collectors will keep searching, historians will keep questioning, and this channel will keep uncovering every lead, every theory, and every shocking twist to help you stay one step closer to unearthing the greatest hidden treasure in American coin history. So if you've ever checked your change and wondered if that dull, old nickel could be something more, something life-changing, something historic, then you're in the right place, because the hunt for the 1998 P. Jefferson Nickel has only just begun. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another Next 2012, D. Jefferson, where today's story begins with a question that could change everything you thought you knew about spare change. What if a tiny oversight, a nearly invisible mistake at the U.S. Mint, transformed a humble 2012 D. Jefferson Nickel into one of the most valuable coins in American history? What if this seemingly ordinary 5-cent piece, tucked away in a forgotten drawer or rattling in a pocket, held secrets so extraordinary they defied logic, ignited bidding wars, and shook the very foundations of numismatic belief? As we delve into the astonishing saga of the 2012 D. Jefferson Nickel, prepare to question everything, because this isn't just about a coin, it's about a mystery buried deep within the metallic veins of American currency, a tale of human error, hidden rarity, and the kind of legend that numismatists whisper about in hushed tones at conventions and auctions, where eyes dart nervously and collectors clutch their finds a little tighter. The Denver Mint, long respected for its precision and reliability, was not expected to be the birthplace of a numismatic enigma, yet sometime during 2012, amidst the millions of Jefferson nickels minted, something inexplicable occurred, an anomaly, or perhaps a series of them, that turned certain coins into untraceable treasures, defying the known production records and evading even the sharpest scrutiny of mint quality control. Whispers first began among coin roll hunters, a small group of dedicated seekers poring over thousands of nickels late into the night, when a few began reporting coins with oddly off-centered strikes, doubling on the inscriptions that shimmered subtly under LED magnification, or ghost-like impressions of previous designs bleeding through as if remnants of an older die had refused to be fully erased. At first, these anomalies were dismissed as mundane mint mishaps, but the sightings grew, spreading across forums and private groups, each discovery more bizarre than the last: a Jefferson nickel with a missing mint mark, another where Monticello appeared distorted as if melting into the field, and a few haunting examples where the entire reverse seemed overstruck with a phantom image of an entirely different denomination. Could this have been a clandestine test strike? A planchet mix-up involving blanks from other coin series? Or was it something far stranger, a mint insider's covert experiment or a catastrophic equipment failure too embarrassing to be documented? As experts weighed in, debates erupted, some claiming these were mere machine malfunctions while others insisted that the variation in flaws, their rarity, location, and composition, suggested not randomness but intent. Meanwhile, prices for verified error specimens soared, one sold quietly at a private auction for a 5-figure sum, according to a well-known dealer who insisted on anonymity, citing the collector's fear of exposure. But where did these coins go? Why were they so scarce? Could the mint have caught the error and pulled most from circulation, missing only a handful that slipped through the cracks? Or perhaps these errors were never reported at all, born and buried in silence until a few lucky finds unearthed them from obscurity. Then came the discovery that changed everything, a sealed bankroll of 2012 D nickels containing not one but 3 error coins, each with distinctly different flaws, a revelation that upended assumptions and opened the floodgates to speculation. Did the Denver Mint produce multiple defective dies that year? Were the machines improperly calibrated following a die replacement? Some theorists speculated that the Mint, amid internal restructuring and increased production quotas, might have rushed the process, letting flawed dies operate beyond their limits. Others, more conspiratorially inclined, suggested a rogue employee may have intentionally created and released the flawed coins, perhaps as a protest or to fabricate scarcity in an otherwise common issue. The intrigue deepened when a retired Mint employee, speaking under condition of anonymity, revealed that 2012 had indeed seen an unusually high turnover in technical staff and a surge in maintenance-related downtime, factors rarely disclosed to the public but potentially responsible for unprecedented errors. Numismatists, driven by obsession and the scent of untold value, began re-examining their collections, sifting through bags of nickels, consulting spectral imaging, metal composition tests, and die alignment analysis, hoping to find the next great error. Coin grading companies reported a spike in submissions for 2012 D nickels, with a select few being assigned rare error designations, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, and most curiously, a handful with what appeared to be double dies on both obverse and reverse, an almost unheard of phenomenon in modern coinage. Collectors who once dismissed the 2012 D as common were now offering thousands to own one with verified anomalies, and those who had once passed over them in change began searching desperately, even revisiting old jars of coins long forgotten. Legends began to form, of a man who found a pristine error coin in his late father's coin jar and used the proceeds to pay off his mortgage, of a teenage collector whose grandfather unknowingly spent one at a vending machine and traced it to a convenience store thousands of miles away only to discover it had already vanished again into circulation, or of an anonymous bidder who flew across the country to attend an estate sale rumored to include a flawless 2012 D error coin in a forgotten folder of worthless modern nickels. What makes these coins so thrilling isn't just the value but the enigma. No official records acknowledge these errors, no mint bulletins were issued, and no die failure reports exist in public archives. Yet the coins do, rare, verified, physical proof of a moment in mint history no one wants to talk about. And the more people uncover, the more the mystery deepens. Could there be a master set, one of each known error from 2012 D, somewhere out there, waiting to be discovered? Could even rarer varieties, ones we haven't seen yet, be buried in circulation, hiding in coin machines, coffee shop tip jars, or forgotten coin rolls in bank vaults? Could someone unknowingly hold $1 million nickel, dismissing it as pocket change? These questions keep collectors up at night and drive the relentless hunt, because the value of these coins is not just in the metal or the mistake, it's in the story, the mystery, the chase, the impossible odds that something so small, so overlooked, could become the crown jewel of a collection, or the centerpiece of a fortune. So next time you hold a 2012 D Jefferson nickel, look closely, not just at the design, but at the shadows, the curves, the spaces where something isn't quite right, because what you hold might not be a simple coin at all, but a portal into one of the greatest numismatic mysteries of the 21st century, a story still unfolding, a treasure hunt still in progress, and a reminder that sometimes history doesn't announce itself with fanfare, sometimes it jingles softly in your pocket, waiting to be noticed. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, into a world where mistakes become miracles and legends are minted in silence, make sure to like the video, subscribe for more mind-blowing discoveries, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next coin that could change your life. Next, 1973 D Jefferson, where one forgotten coin might just rewrite everything you thought you knew about wealth, mystery, and history itself, because today we dive headfirst into the spine-tingling enigma of the 1973 D Jefferson nickel, a seemingly ordinary 5-cent piece that, under the right magnifying glass and in the right hands, may very well be the rarest, Most shockingly valuable coin the United States Mint has ever produced, and the key to unlocking one of the most curious mysteries in numismatic lore, because what if a small error, a single overlooked detail during minting, transformed this simple Denver-issued nickel into a once-in-a-lifetime mistake that escaped the tight security and rigorous quality controls of the U.S. Mint and quietly circulated for decades unnoticed, unappreciated, and underestimated until sharp-eyed collectors, armed with microscopes and decades of obsession, began unearthing clues, whispering among themselves about strange anomalies, warped planchets, doubled dies, missing mint marks, improperly annealed surfaces, and even ghostly outlines of other designs bleeding through the nickel's metallic skin like echoes from a forbidden past, all of which pointed to something gone drastically wrong, or perhaps diabolically right, at the Denver Mint in that fateful year of 1973, a year already steeped in political unrest, post-Vietnam War disillusionment, and a government in crisis with the looming Watergate scandal creating fertile ground for institutional errors and misdirection. And as the machine's word, as coin blanks flew down chutes and hoppers in the relentless production process, one error, whether born from a fatigued press operator, a mislabeled die shipment, or a rogue experimental die that was never meant to touch a circulation-ready planchet, somehow made its way into production and spawned a variation so rare, so elusive, and so little understood, that decades later it would set collectors ablaze with feverish speculation and high-stakes auctions that would catapult some examples into the realm of six-figure sales. But the real story is even stranger, because buried deep in the archives of numismatic journals and hidden behind the closed doors of collector societies were whispers of a limited test strike, a secret trial run involving a hybrid alloy or foreign planchet intended for a now-defunct diplomatic program. And these theories, once laughed off as conspiracy nonsense, gained traction as more anomalies surfaced, each discovery adding fuel to a fire of uncertainty, like the now famous Denver Shadow Nickel, whose raised outlines suggest an overstrike from a previously unknown coin or token, or the legendary, floating steps variety where Monticello's base appears detached and suspended in a dreamlike void, a misalignment so bizarre experts were split on whether it was a striking error, a die deterioration, or something never before catalogued in U.S. Mint records. And what's more, accounts began emerging from retired mint workers, unnamed, unverifiable, and yet eerily consistent, who spoke of late-night production runs, of dies being switched under pressure, of coins disappearing before final inspection, and of hushed meetings with Treasury officials warning staff never to speak of what they saw, a cloak of secrecy that only made the 1973 Jefferson Nickel more seductive, more legendary, and more obsessively sought after, especially after a sealed roll was discovered in a Midwestern attic, untouched since the mid-70s and containing not just one, but several bizarre specimens with slightly off-center strikes, uneven reading, and most chillingly of all, what appeared to be remnants of a S mint mark faintly ghosted under the D, suggesting a possible over-minting scenario or, even more shocking, the repurposing of San Francisco dies in Denver. A direct violation of minting protocols that, if proven, could expose one of the biggest slip-ups in mint history. And it didn't stop there, because as word spread, collectors from around the world began submitting their 1973 D nickels to grading companies, who, under pressure, began assigning designations like unattributed die variety, unconfirmed transitional error, and the elusive experimental strike, each one raising more questions than answers. While private forums exploded with debates over whether a clandestine batch of pattern coins had accidentally entered circulation during a time when the Mint was experimenting with new alloys in anticipation of rising metal costs, and while official channels remained silent, possibly to protect the integrity of the Mint's reputation, the trail of oddities continued, coins with thicker rims, irregular weights, missing clad layers. Even one specimen with a faint doubling on Jefferson's eye so precise that one expert claimed it could not have occurred without a digital error in die creation, something supposedly impossible in 1973's analog processes. And when a high-ranking auctioneer claimed to have seen a 1973 D nickel struck on a silver planchet, a metal phased out years earlier, panic ensued, because if true, it would mean not just an error but the release of a coin that was never supposed to exist, a relic from a different age smuggled into a modern coin's body, like a ghost from the pre-1965 silver era calling out from the past. And as collector mania surged, prices skyrocketed, with rumored private sales topping $1 250,000, yet every confirmed anomaly only deepened the mystery, drawing in metallurgists, former mint insiders, and even conspiracy theorists who tied the coin to covert Cold War-era operations involving currency manipulation and diplomatic gifts to foreign allies, a theory partially fueled by the discovery of an eerily similar Jefferson nickel in a Swiss bank vault, accompanied by documentation referencing a U.S. Type 5 diplomatic strike, 1973, and suddenly the question wasn't just what happened at the Denver Mint that year, it was why, and for whom, and whether the coins we know of today are the only survivors of a larger, hidden program, and as experts continue to dissect every micrometer of these elusive nickels, new stories emerged of miscatalogued specimens sitting unnoticed in cigar boxes and bank rolls, with one famously turning up in a third grader's lunch money and nearly spent on a chocolate bar before a teacher noticed its unusual luster and saved it for further study, leading to its eventual sale at auction for an amount equivalent to the cost of a brand new SUV, and even then the buyer remained anonymous, sparking rumors of deep-pocketed collectors quietly hoarding all known examples in anticipation of a historic value explosion, and the more the numismatic community tried to pin down a singular explanation, the more contradictions emerged, as if the coin itself were playing a game of hide and seek, challenging historians, chemists, and economists alike to make sense of its existence, and with each unanswered question, why were so many dies retired early that year? Why do some coins weigh 5.2 grams instead of 5.0? Why do certain specimens show radial die cracks consistent with planchet expansion never before seen on nickels? The legend grew, until finally, in a stunning twist, a Freedom of Information Act request filed by a tenacious coin historian revealed partially redacted documents from 1973 discussing a die transfer incident at the Denver Mint, followed by an emergency audit and an internal report titled Asset Discrepancies, Experimental Coinage, which mentioned Jefferson profiles, misaligned collar strikes, and cross-departmental confusion, the clearest evidence yet that something strange, something unprecedented, had occurred. And while the Mint refuses to officially acknowledge the possibility of a secret program or accidental experimental release, the mountain of circumstantial evidence continues to grow, supported by field reports, high-resolution imaging, die clash studies, and private letters from retired staff now willing to speak, all culminating in what can only be described as a perfect storm of error, rarity, and mystery surrounding the 1973 D. Jefferson Nickel, a coin that forces us to ask, what other secrets lie undiscovered in our change jars, and could the next $1 million mistake be sitting silently in your pocket right now, just waiting for you to look closely, to question what others missed, to become the next link in a decades-old mystery that spans mints, nations, and time itself? So if you're as captivated by this incredible tale as we are and you want to be the first to uncover more hidden coin legends that could change your life forever, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay with us, because the next 2006 D. Jefferson where the ordinary transforms into the unbelievable and where a single overlooked detail can lead to the discovery of a fortune, because what if a small mistake made the 2006 D. Jefferson nickel the most valuable coin ever struck in U.S. history? What if a common pocket change coin turned out to be a multi-million-dollar mystery, cloaked in government oversight, rare minting errors, and collector obsession? It all begins in the vast and industrial world of the Denver Mint, where in 2006, amidst the hum of presses and the scent of metal, something extraordinary happened, a minting event so bizarre, so statistically improbable, and so well hidden, that its very existence would only be whispered about in the deepest corners of the numismatic world for years to come. While over 490 million of these nickels were produced and flooded into circulation, experts began to notice something strange, a few rare examples that looked, felt, and struck completely differently, anomalies with ghost-like doubling, unusual planchet tones, and unexplained die clashes that defied known minting protocols. Some were missing mint marks, others bore characteristics of different denominations, leading some to believe that rogue planchets from previous or foreign coinage had somehow been fed into the press, creating unintentional hybrids with no official record. Could it have been the result of a machine malfunction, or was it human error? Or was something even more sinister at play? A covert minting experiment or insider conspiracy that led to a handful of trial coins slipping past quality control and into the public's hands? As the rumors spread, collectors and treasure hunters combed through bags of nickels, bank rolls, and old jars, searching for the elusive specimens that carried the telltale signs of being struck with misaligned dies or on undersized blanks, many sporting faint yet undeniable signs of doubling in Jefferson's eye, coat, or even Monticello itself. One collector, an unsuspecting retiree in Oklahoma, claimed to have found one in a coin-counting machine, noting its off-center strike and mysterious weight discrepancy, a coin that later fetched 5 figures at a private auction. The story ignited a wildfire of speculation. Why were no such coins listed in official mint documentation? Was the government hiding something, or had the error coins simply evaded detection for years? Historians looked back at 2006 and realized that this was the same year the mint underwent minor equipment overhauls and production timeline shifts, possibly the perfect storm for rogue mint errors to occur and be missed by overworked inspectors. Still others proposed wild theories involving stolen prototype dies, unauthorized after-hours press runs, or even foreign agents tampering with U.S. production to test vulnerabilities in mint security protocols. As the theories grew more outlandish, so did the stories, from a janitor who supposedly pocketed one during his final shift, to a warehouse worker who died before revealing the location of a hoard of misprinted 2006 D nickels buried beneath his Colorado property. Expert numismatists weighed in, poring over high-resolution scans and metallurgical analyses, confirming that at least a handful of these coins could not be explained by any normal error classification. Some bore die rotations of up to 90 degrees, others showed doubling in areas never before seen on nickels of any year. The implications were staggering. If even one of these was real, it would be a once-in-a-century anomaly worth potentially hundreds of thousands, if not millions, due to its rarity, its mystery, and the sheer impossibility of its origin. Coin forums exploded with heated debates, blurry images, and conflicting analysis, while professional graders remained tight-lipped, refusing to confirm or deny certain submissions. Then came the twist. A private collector revealed they had discovered a sealed roll of 2006 D nickels with not one, but 3 anomalous coins, each with different errors, one with a misaligned die strike, one with a reverse planchet indent, and one bearing what appeared to be a phantom P mint mark faintly overlapping the D. The discovery sent shockwaves through the numismatic world, calling into question the integrity of the mint's record-keeping and the possibility of cross-mint anomalies. Did a Philadelphia die find its way into a Denver press, perhaps during a late-night emergency repair? Or was it evidence of an entirely different kind of oversight, one orchestrated from within? Government agencies declined to comment, but FOIA requests revealed internal memos regarding unauthorized die transfers in early 2006, lending terrifying credibility to the most unthinkable theories. Meanwhile, collectors began reporting uncanny similarities between certain 2006 D nickels and older Jefferson nickels from the 1990s, raising the question, had older dies been resurrected by mistake or on purpose, creating ghost coins with blended timelines? One theorist even suggested the involvement of experimental bimetallic blanks designed for a scrapped commemorative program, explaining the weight inconsistencies and edge anomalies some collectors had noticed. Suddenly, what was once a mundane coin turned into the centerpiece of a national mystery, a nexus point of error, conspiracy, and value so intense that it sparked real treasure hunts, black market trades, and international bidding wars. Auctions began to list verified 2006 D error nickels with staggering price tags, while YouTube and TikTok videos chronicled tear-filled stories of everyday people finding 5-figure fortune in their change jars. One woman in Nebraska found one stuck in the bottom of a vending machine, a nickel that paid off her student loans. Another resurfaced in a pawn shop drawer, overlooked for years, then sold to a private buyer for over $100,000. Still, the biggest mystery remains unsolved. How many of these extraordinary coins are still out there, hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right eyes to find them? Could you be the next accidental millionaire just one coin away from unlocking the truth behind the 2006 D Jefferson nickel? Or is this all just an elaborate myth fueled by coincidence and numismatic imagination? That's the beauty, and the danger, of rare coins. They blur the lines between history and mystery, between fact and folklore, pulling us deeper into a world where metal, mint, and mistake combine to create something priceless. So check your change, double-check your coin rolls, and never overlook the dull, warn nickel at the bottom of your drawer, because the next legendary find might be closer than you think. And if this journey through obsession, error, and hidden treasure left you breathless, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because there are more shocking coin stories waiting to be unearthed, and you won't want to miss what comes next. Next, 1986 p, where today's journey will take you deep into one of the most puzzling and electrifying mysteries in American numismatic history, a story that begins with a coin so ordinary that it might be hiding in your pocket right now, yet beneath its dull nickel surface lies a tale so rich with error, oversight, obsession, and improbable fortune that it could very well be the most valuable coin ever struck by mistake, the 1986 p Jefferson Nickel, a small circular artifact from the Philadelphia Mint that defies all expectations and has thrown collectors and experts into a decades-long frenzy of speculation and discovery. For what if a tiny error, barely perceptible to the untrained, transformed a mass-produced 5-cent piece into a legendary treasure worth millions? What if a routine minting process went catastrophically, fatefully off course in just the right way to birth a numismatic anomaly so rare, so mysterious, that even the U.S. Mint has remained curiously silent? And what if this innocuous little coin carried with it a legacy of lost dies, clandestine restrikes, secret production experiments, and rogue mint workers covering their tracks as a bureaucratic blunder snowballed into a collector's fever dream? Because the tale of the 1986 p Jefferson Nickel is not merely about metal and mintage, but about the collision of chance and destiny. A coin born in an era of economic uncertainty and government tightening, when cost-cutting measures and outdated equipment led to a surge in minting inconsistencies, and yet none so intriguing as those surrounding this elusive coin, where reports of doubling on the obverse, ghost-like impressions of Monticello on the reverse, off-metal strikes using planchets meant for foreign coins, and full-step examples so flawless they should be statistically impossible have surfaced from basements, estate sales, and old jars, whispered about on coin forums, examined under microscopes by experts, and yet still shrouded in uncertainty, with one particular specimen appearing to have been struck on a transitional planchet, likely intended for a different denomination or year, its weight off by fractions that only the most precise scales detect, and its color revealing a metallurgical composition never intended for a nickel in 1986, sparking theories of leftover blanks from earlier mint runs being reused or a clandestine test piece slipping through the cracks, and as collectors race to find even one more example, the prices skyrocket, with verified error coins fetching tens of thousands and unconfirmed pieces fueling speculative bidding wars as auctioneers stoke the flames of desire. But the deeper mystery lies in what the mint isn't saying, because FOIA requests have come back redacted. Former employees have hinted at experimental strikes in 1985 and 1986 that were never approved for circulation, and a batch of coins believed to have been destroyed may not have been, they may have been quietly released, mixed in with standard rolls, lost to time except for the few that resurface in stunning condition, sometimes in the most bizarre places, in a child's lunchbox buried in a schoolyard, or hidden behind drywall in a house under renovation, or found in a sealed bankroll from a long-defunct regional branch of the Federal Reserve, and each time one surfaces, the community erupts, speculating whether this is the one, the key piece that confirms the whispered legends, the missing link that exposes the full scope of the error and the U.S. Mint's role in either covering it up or losing track of an unauthorized batch, with some believing that an employee intentionally struck a small number of these coins using modified dies to test pressure calibration, while others insist it was an accidental blend of wrong dies and foreign blanks during a chaotic production month. But all agree on one thing. The 1986 p Jefferson Nickel is not what it seems, for while millions were struck, only a handful bear the impossible traits that defy classification, and with each new find, the theories grow wilder, from Cold War sabotage to covert coinage experiments meant to test new alloys, and even whispers of shadowy collectors paying mint workers under the table to create unique specimens. And as we peel back the layers of this ever-deepening enigma, examining the known anomalies, like reverse die cracks so perfectly symmetrical they look intentional, or the infamous ghost steps that hint at re-engraved dies, or even one coin allegedly struck on a bronze planchet from a leftover 1982 cent blank, complete with full luster and microscopic reading impressions suggesting it was struck multiple times, we begin to realize that this is not merely a case of error collecting, it is the unraveling of a historical secret, A code embedded in copper nickel that challenges our understanding of minting protocol, and invites us to question just how many other errors go unnoticed, how many treasures slip through the cracks of an overburdened bureaucracy, and how a single, quiet, overlooked coin from 1986 can suddenly explode in value and mystique, drawing in collectors like moths to a flame, with stories of people mortgaging homes to buy one, of marriages strained by bidding wars, of friendships broken over accusations of counterfeit versus authentic, of small-town coin dealers finding themselves at the center of national attention after unknowingly selling one for a mere 5 cents decades ago. And then there's the unsettling question that haunts every serious collector: if this coin is real, if these errors are genuine and traceable, then where are the rest, how many more exist, and are they hidden in plain sight, and could the next person to stumble on one be you, unknowingly holding a fortune between your fingers? And as we dive deeper into expert interviews, metallurgical reports, conflicting grading opinions, and the strange tale of the coin that was once deemed a mundane 5-cent piece but now drives obsessions and fuels a growing numismatic legend, we invite you to join the search, because the 1986 P. Jefferson Nickel is more than a coin, it is a cipher, a riddle waiting to be solved, a relic of government silence and collector perseverance, and whether it's in your pocket, a forgotten jar, or buried in a roll you haven't opened yet, this mystery remains unsolved, and until it is, the story of this coin will continue to captivate, inspire, and haunt, because behind every Jefferson Nickel of 1986 lies the question that won't go away: what if yours is the one, the unicorn, the $1,000,000 mistake that rewrites history? So keep watching, keep searching, and if you want to stay on the front lines of this unfolding coin conspiracy, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because the next chapter in the story of the 1986 P. Jefferson Nickel is just one discovery away from being written. Next 2014 D. Jefferson Nickels, where today we plunge into the electrifying mystery of a coin that may have slipped through the cracks of ordinary history, only to emerge as a jaw-dropping anomaly that has stunned the numismatic world. The 2014 D. Jefferson Nickel, a seemingly modern and mundane 5-cent piece that may in fact be one of the most mysterious, shocking, and outrageously valuable coins ever struck by the United States Mint. But how could such a common coin hide a legacy of errors so rare, so specific, and so scandalously overlooked that experts now whisper about it as the sleeping giant of American coinage? And what if a small, almost imperceptible minting mistake transformed it from pocket change into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure worth hundreds of thousands, if not millions? And what if that mistake was never meant to be seen by the public, buried under layers of bureaucracy, technical oversight, and government silence, a secret only now coming to light through stories passed among elite collectors, numismatic forums, and auction floors where whispers become bidding wars, and the stakes grow by the second as more and more collectors realize the 2014 D. Jefferson Nickel may be far more than meets the eye, a modern marvel of minting mystery with a backstory as tangled and thrilling as any spy novel, beginning in the bustling Denver Mint in the year 2014. A year that was supposed to be standard, uneventful, even boring in the world of coin production, but behind the scenes, something unusual was happening: machines misaligned, planchets misfed, dies misengraved, and somehow, a rare combination of these anomalies led to the birth of a micropopulation of error coins so subtle yet so significant that even trained eyes missed them for years, until one collector noticed something strange: a doubling in Monticello that looked too crisp to be mechanical, too symmetrical to be random, sparking a wildfire of investigation as more coins surfaced with rotated dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and full-step Monticello designs that appeared in coins where they absolutely shouldn't. But what really ignited the storm was the appearance of a single 2014 D nickel with a fully struck 5-step Monticello, deep die polish lines, and a partial collar strike that gave it a ghostly edge unlike anything documented before, prompting leading grading companies to issue special labels and spiking demand on the private market as collectors scrambled to unearth their pocket change, desperate to find what was quickly being dubbed the Phantom Nickel. But was it just one? Or were there more? And if more existed, why hadn't they appeared sooner, and what was the mint hiding? Theories exploded across the coin community. Was there an experimental die used briefly at the Denver Mint that accidentally struck a few nickels before being pulled? Was a batch of rejected planchets mistakenly fed into the press? Or was there something even more sensational, like an unauthorized strike by a rogue employee, a modern-day minting saboteur who left behind a breadcrumb trail of rare errors that only the most attentive collectors would ever find. And what if those coins were intentionally slipped into circulation in a desperate act to preserve their existence? We look at eyewitness accounts from mint workers, anonymous tips from retired engravers, and hush-hush appraisals from behind closed doors at major numismatic conventions where the 2014 D-nickel is quietly becoming the coin everyone wants but no one can confirm, as its prices surge quietly in underground trades, sometimes fetching tens of thousands when the right error surfaces, particularly those with dramatic die clashes showing Jefferson's profile mirrored grotesquely across Monticello's columns, or the infamous floating steps error that suggests a misalignment so precise it borders on intentional, and the deeper you go, the stranger it gets, with stories of government vaults holding unreleased nickels, sealed containers mistakenly shipped overseas, and a rumor that one coin, preserved in pristine condition, was given as a retirement gift to a mint director who never realized what he possessed. But how do you trace a coin like this, especially when so few people are willing to talk, and those who do often speak in cryptic terms, like the mysterious collector known only as Nighthawk, who claims to own a 2014 D-nickel with both a double die reverse and a misaligned obverse strike that gives Jefferson a shadowed second nose and a gaze that feels almost alive, a coin so rare and so controversial that it has never been graded, never been sold, and may never even be seen by the public, unless, of course, it appears one day in a major estate auction, sparking a frenzy that sends values into the stratosphere. And while we wait for that day, the hunt continues, with every roll searched, every nickel examined, and every anomaly scrutinized for signs of the phantom nickel, the mythical error that could make anyone who finds it an overnight millionaire. And as more collectors share stories of impossible die rotations, dramatic cut breaks, and clashes so violent they look like modern art, a pattern begins to emerge, a pattern that suggests the 2014 D. Jefferson Nickel was no ordinary coin but a perfect storm of mint misfires, mechanical fatigue, human error, and perhaps, just perhaps, intentional sabotage. And as we dive deeper into the history of the Denver Mint in 2014, we find records of equipment failures, temporary staffing shifts, and a rushed production schedule designed to meet a coinage deadline that coincided with a regional redesign program that was suddenly postponed without explanation, leading to a glut of unused dies and panicked recalibration that may have laid the groundwork for this numismatic time bomb. And as more examples of the coin surface, many of them with multiple concurrent errors, like off-center strikes with full steps, or clash marks combined with heavy die polishing, the mystery only deepens, with each coin acting like a puzzle piece to a larger picture of either catastrophic oversight or deliberate manipulation. And the more we learn, the more we must ask, was this the result of unchecked human error? Or was something more deliberate at play, a test run of new die configurations, or an intentional Easter egg left by a retiring mint employee, as some conspiracy-minded collectors believe, pointing to minute engravings under extreme magnification that resemble initials or hidden symbols embedded in Jefferson's hairline. And as for values, auction records show that while common 2014 D nickels trade for face value, those with known errors have fetched upwards of $10,000, with experts predicting the first MS-68 full steps example with a verified triple error could break six figures if offered at the right time, in the right place, and to the right buyer. But be warned, counterfeiters have taken notice too, flooding the market with manipulated nickels, forcing grading companies to heighten security and refine authentication techniques, adding yet another layer of drama to a coin that already reads like a Hollywood thriller. And through it all, the legend of the 2014 D. Jefferson Nickel only grows, fueled by obsessive collectors, whispered rumors, and the undeniable thrill of a modern-day treasure hunt hiding in plain sight, as each new discovery rewrites the rules, reshapes the narrative, and reminds us that sometimes the most extraordinary mysteries aren't buried deep in the past, but jingling in your pocket, waiting for a curious eye to recognize their worth. And now, as you reach for your own change jar, ask yourself, could you be holding the next phantom nickel, the one with just enough anomaly to change your life forever? If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most mind-blowing mysteries in modern coin history, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more gripping numismatic stories, and hit the bell so you never miss another hidden treasure. Your next great discovery could be just 1993 P. Jefferson, what if I told you that a single, seemingly ordinary 1993 P. Jefferson nickel could be hiding a mind-bending secret so valuable, so astonishing, and so shrouded in mystery that it might just be one of the most extraordinary coin discoveries in modern American history? Imagine holding a 5-cent coin in your hand, a coin you've passed over 1,000 times without a second thought, and realizing that because of one tiny, almost imperceptible error, it's worth hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions, of dollars, with collectors and historians alike locked in an unending hunt for its origins and authenticity, chasing whispers of hidden mints, experimental dies, and suppressed records. What if this humble nickel, minted at the Philadelphia Mint in 1993, carries with it not only the face of Thomas Jefferson but the weight of a decades-long conspiracy, a stunning minting anomaly that the U.S. Mint never acknowledged publicly, but that insiders and collectors have obsessed over for years? Could it be that one night in the early 1990s, a fatigued technician made a mistake during a routine die switch, accidentally inserting a prototype reverse intended for a never-released redesign? Or perhaps a test strike meant for an experimental alloy slipped through undetected, struck using a die intended for a different denomination entirely, resulting in an unintentional crossover error that baffled even the most experienced numismatists. The tale of the 1993 P. Jefferson nickel isn't just about metal and mint marks, it's about a breathtakingly improbable series of events that converged at the intersection of error and fate, leaving behind a breadcrumb trail that's driven collectors to the edge of obsession, some spending their entire careers tracking down rumors of a doubled Monticello, misaligned dies, ghost images of foreign designs, or planchets struck on experimental blanks never meant for circulation. Deep inside the vaults of the Philadelphia Mint, where countless millions of nickels are churned out with cold mechanical precision, it's believed that a handful, perhaps even just a single specimen, escaped the tightening controls of the Mint's quality assurance process, bearing what appears to be a mirror-like finish typically reserved for proof coins but somehow struck on a business strike planchet, with a sharply doubled date, weak reverse details, and an almost imperceptible but highly unusual ridge beneath Jefferson's A, something so anomalous that seasoned graders have gone silent in its presence, issuing only whispered assessments and confidential consultations with top-tier numismatists. Some even claim that a former Mint employee, now living abroad under an assumed identity, confessed in a private collectors forum that the 1993 P nickel in question was the result of a failed experiment involving a hybrid composition meant to combat rising metal costs, combining layers of copper nickel with a manganese core, which not only altered the coin's weight but its magnetic signature, rendering it invisible to traditional vending machines and setting off alarms in automated coin counters, leading to a quiet recall operation that never fully succeeded. As stories continued to swirl, one collector in rural Ohio claimed to have discovered such a coin in a roll he bought for 50 cents at a garage sale. He took it to a local coin shop where the owner, a retired U.S. Mint consultant, examined it under 30x magnification and allegedly turned white as a sheet before offering $10,000 on the spot, no questions asked. But the collector refused, sensing something bigger was at play, and soon the coin disappeared from public view, its whereabouts unknown, fueling endless debate and drawing the attention of investigative journalists, coin grading companies, and even federal agents, all trying to confirm the coin's legitimacy, or suppress the truth. Could it be that the U.S. Mint deliberately buried this mistake to avoid public scandal, especially during a time when its budget and oversight were under scrutiny? Or does this nickel represent a more sinister possibility, intentional sabotage, a rogue engraver, or even a clandestine program to test new security features without public disclosure? As whispers spread across underground collector communities and rare coin conventions, one truth has emerged: those who've seen the mysterious 1993 P. Jefferson nickel in person speak of it with reverence, as if it were a relic of mythic proportion, a talisman of numismatic legend, with details that defy logic, like a partial clash of the Lincoln Memorial behind Monticello, or minute inscriptions barely visible beneath the date that read "test" or "specimen." How did these anomalies make it onto a standard circulation coin? Was it a rogue press operator, or a clandestine strike intended as a test that accidentally made it into a circulation batch? Some believe a few dozen examples exist, hidden in private vaults or still sitting unnoticed in pocket change trays across America, while others are convinced it was a one-of-a-kind minting accident never meant to be discovered, and those who now possess it might not even know the treasure they hold. Theories abound, a misalignment during die production resulting in off-center impressions so slight they went undetected, ghost doubling that created eerie visual effects under specific lighting, and even suggestions that advanced imaging technology has revealed hidden layers within the coin structure, like a double planchet fusion error previously thought impossible on modern minting equipment. Experts at top grading companies like PCGS and NGC have received submissions rumored to be the elusive 1993 P error, only to issue vague, non-committal statements about unusual characteristics or non-standard features inconsistent with typical production, and some coins were even returned without grading at all, sparking furious debates in online forums and the emergence of private databases cataloging every known specimen with abnormal weight, thickness, or strike clarity. A prominent numismatic historian once gave a talk in New York titled, "The Ghost of 93, recounting the story of a collector who mortgaged his home after becoming obsessed with locating this coin, convinced that deciphering the mysterious microdots near the steps of Monticello would lead him to the original die pair used in the error strikes, hidden, he believed, in a forgotten storage facility once used by the Philadelphia Mint in the early 90s. Every twist in the story only adds to the mystique. A collector in Germany claims to have found a matching nickel with magnetic anomalies, a retired mint engraver who hints cryptically at a final test, conducted without oversight, and coin auction houses that have allegedly rejected 1993 P nickels with suspicious traits under pressure from unnamed federal contacts. Could this be a case of overactive imaginations, or is there truly a Jefferson nickel from 1993 that breaks every rule, every precedent, and every expectation of what a 5-cent coin can be? The answer may lie in one final clue, a mint production log from 1993 that was recently declassified, revealing a discrepancy in the number of planchets used and coins struck during a specific 2-day window in April, a gap that perfectly aligns with the timeline of rumored experimental runs, missing die tracking numbers, and unexplained quality control alerts. One page, partially redacted, mentions unscheduled test strikes, Jefferson reverse, non-standard alloy, and that single line has set the numismatic world ablaze, with collectors, historians, and conspiracy theorists poring over every shred of available data, mapping out production runs, reconstructing floor plans of the Philadelphia Mint, and analyzing archived footage in search of overlooked clues. Every whisper, every theory, every anomaly brings us closer to an incredible revelation, that a 5-cent coin from 1993 might be the key to unraveling one of the U.S. Mint's most closely guarded secrets, a mistake turned miracle, a hidden treasure with the power to rewrite what we think we know about American coinage history. So ask yourself, do you have one in your change jar right now? Could you be holding the next great numismatic mystery? Because if you ever stumble upon a 1993 P. Jefferson nickel that looks just a little different, maybe shinier, heavier, or ever so slightly off-center, you might just be staring into the face of a coin worth more than gold, more than silver, more than even the wildest collector dreams, and the moment you realize it, you'll never look at pocket change the same way again. Subscribe if you're ready to uncover more numismatic mysteries, because this journey into the unknown is just beginning. Next, 1954, Jefferson, where today we plunge into a mystery so compelling, so shrouded in historical enigma, and so electrically charged with numismatic obsession that it could change the way you look at pocket change forever, because what if a small mistake made the 1954 Jefferson nickel the most valuable coin ever struck in the history of the United States Mint? A coin born not just of metal and machinery but of accident, secrecy, and anomaly that slipped past layers of bureaucratic inspection into the hands of fate itself? What if that one 5-cent piece, minted in a year most people now skim over in textbooks, was not merely a currency artifact but a silent witness to a government blunder so rare, so inexplicable, and so monumentally significant that its value today isn't just in dollars, but in the unraveling of untold stories, concealed errors, and whispered truths among collectors who have chased this elusive phantom for decades? Imagine a coin struck in the Cold War haze of 1954, an era of suspicion, espionage, and meticulous governmental control, and yet, amid the tight oversight, one mint in Philadelphia, or was it Denver? Or San Francisco, let loose a batch of nickels that didn't quite follow the rules, nickels that bore unexplained anomalies in their planchets, dies, or striking sequence, nickels that today could be worth hundreds of thousands, or even millions, not just because of what they are, but because of what we don't know about them, for this isn't just a coin, this is a key to a story buried in minting vaults, collector vaults, and perhaps even classified archives never meant to see the light of day, a story that begins in 1954 but refuses to end, looping through auction floors, private collector trades, and online forums where whispers of double dies, full steps, misplaced mint marks, and even off-metal strikes have set hearts pounding and bids soaring, where one collector claimed to find a 1954 Jefferson nickel with a silver planchet, a war era leftover perhaps, sparking theories of leftover wartime blanks being accidentally reused or purposefully struck as internal tests never meant for circulation, and another swears he once held a 1954 nickel missing its mint mark entirely despite being authenticated by 3 separate grading authorities, yet no record of such a variation has ever been officially recognized, and therein lies the seduction, the absence of certainty, the dance between doubt and belief, because the 1954 nickel isn't just one coin, it's many, each one offering new puzzle pieces to a jigsaw that might never be fully assembled, a maze of known knowns, known unknowns, and unknown unknowns, echoing the very paranoia of the time it was struck, when secrets were currency and information was power, and in the hands of the U.S. Mint, perhaps a routine production became an inadvertent legend, spawning rumors of a batch accidentally released before quality control caught up, or a rogue engraver experimenting with alternate dies on night shifts, or even a shipping error that mixed unapproved coins into official circulation, and while official records from the mint remain maddeningly opaque, missing logs, incomplete press records, destroyed documents, the collector community has filled the gaps with tales and tangible specimens that defy standard explanations, such as the famed ghost step nickel reportedly found in North Carolina in the 1980s bearing not 5, but 6 razor-sharp steps on Monticello, a physical impossibility according to official die specifications, yet authenticated by numismatic legend Walter Brenner who reportedly called it the cleanest error never admitted, or the story of the reclusive Montana miner who stumbled upon a hoard of 1,954 nickels buried in an old ammo box, many showing signs of strike doubling so symmetrical and deep that experts have argued whether it was mechanical or master die doubling, and still others insist the legendary 1954 S/D Jefferson nickel exists. A mint mark crossover so rare that not one has surfaced publicly, but rumors persist of private collectors and even one anonymous museum possessing a specimen they refuse to release, fueling an obsession that burns across generations, auction houses, and international borders, because unlike modern coins with well-documented minting processes and clear distribution channels, the 1954 nickel inhabits a hazy borderland where history, secrecy, and chance collide, where a single flawed die or forgotten batch might have given birth to the rarest of all Jefferson nickels, and in a stunning twist, some researchers believe the origin of these anomalies may trace not to the main minting floor but to the experimental press room in Philadelphia, an area often used to test new alloys or striking pressures, raising the tantalizing possibility that some 1954 nickels were struck on leftover wartime silver alloy planchets or even foreign coin stockpiles used for testing, and then released unintentionally during a routine coin swap. And adding fuel to this fire is a controversial memo unearthed in a declassified batch of Treasury documents mentioning a shortage of approved blanks and a temporary reliance on emergency substitutes during late 1953 through early 1954, and although the memo never explicitly references Jefferson nickels, the timing and location align too perfectly to ignore, leading some to claim that 1954 nickels struck on nickel-clad steel or bronze blanks may have slipped into the wild, and if even one of those coins still exists, still circulates, still hides in a drawer or forgotten jar, it would be priceless, not just for its monetary value, but for what it reveals about a moment in history when even the most secure systems cracked under pressure, when perfection faltered, and something truly unique was born, and the stories just keep coming. Like that of the 11-year-old boy in Ohio who in 1991 paid for candy using a 1954 nickel that caught the eye of a local dealer who swore it was a transitional error with a reverse from a 1953 die and an obverse from a 1954 prototype never used in official production, or the California collector who insists his 1954 nickel glows under ultraviolet light due to an unusual chemical residue, possibly from an experimental cleaning process or protective coating never approved for use, and with every new tale, every auction, every debate, the legend of the 1954 Jefferson Nickel grows, gaining weight, mystery, and magnetism, until we are no longer simply talking about a coin, we're talking about a symbol of everything that fascinates us, the unknown, the rare, the almost lost but not forgotten, the object that sits quietly until someone finally asks the right question and unlocks the secret it's been holding for over 70 years, and now that secret may be closer to discovery than ever, with modern scanning technology, spectroscopic analysis, and crowdsourced investigations bringing unprecedented scrutiny to every variation, every mint mark placement, every die clash and rim anomaly, and even AI-assisted pattern recognition. Beginning to identify outliers invisible to the human eye, all in service of solving the great 1954 nickel mystery once and for all. Was it just another year, just another coin, or was it the year that changed everything without anyone noticing, the year the mint's hidden story was accidentally cast into circulation, the year one mistake made a 5-cent piece worth a fortune? So, if you've got a 1954 nickel, or better yet, a drawer full, it might be time to look a little closer, to wonder a little harder, to ask yourself, could you be holding the rarest Jefferson nickel ever made, a piece of forgotten history waiting to be rediscovered, a modern treasure hiding in plain sight, and if so, what secrets is it still keeping, and will you be the one to unlock them? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because we've only just begun to dig into the rabbit hole of the most mysterious coin America has ever minted.